So I just wanted to go in and try to understand really what a role as a scout is in South Africa, and especially in South African cricket. So Graham, just give us a little bit of an introduction about what you actually do from a day-to-day basis.
As the scout is probably it's not a complex issue. It's how you probably people perceive scout the way they understand the scout, right? The way I see it, my day-to-day job is that I liaise. My main focus is to support the national coach, right? So I work in the Western Cape region, which comprises of Boland, Western Province, and SWT, right? So where youth is concerned, if I should be on top of my game.
Yeah.
So I should know players in those regions, players that is earmarked by CSA, the coach, the national coach would want some information. I should be on top of it, where to get it, how to get it to him, and expedite those information to him. But also look out for talent. Where on my travels, on my journey, there is no proper, if you talk about scouting, there is no proper formula for scouting. I haven't seen a criteria or formula. It's like golf. It's feel, it's touch. You should know your business. You should have been in the game. You might, in my perspective, my situation, I haven't played for South Africa or international cricket, and that makes me a scout. I've been in the game since 1970, let's get that right, 77, 76 season I started playing this game, right? I've always been in this game. I'm 53 years old now. So I've never been away from the game. So I've always followed the game, I've evolved with the game, I've learned out of the game, and then obviously I bounce off from senior players, like in Cape Town or wherever. If I go to Boland, I'll chat to Henry Williams, that's an international, right? Yeah, I would speak to Ash about it, or speak to Gogi about it, because those are international players, you see, and learn how do they look at a player. Because like I said, there is no exact formula. Of the player must be 1, 2, 3, 4. There's nothing like that. So and because cricket is subjective, right? There's always a different view. It's how I perceive a cricketer. What are we looking for, right? When you work at youth level, the dynamics is different. Because at youth level, you look at, just remember, a boy hasn't evolved yet. You're actually taking a punt now. You understand? But it must be a calculated punt. You see? I'm not a gambler. So you can't throw good money after bad money. So, and you don't get it always right. Make no mistake, you don't always get it right. And people tend to harp on the not getting it right. You understand? And make a hoo-ha about it and a big issue about it. And look at the successes that we've had. Myself included, boys that we've looked at. Like for instance, we have a boy that's going to go into the Africa Cup now. Bonga Makaka is an 18-year-old youngster. He played third 11 cricket at his school, and it is at a previously model C school. We took him from there. I've watched him one Wednesday score 100. The bowling attack was not the best bowling attack. The field wasn't the biggest field either, but the attributes that comes with it, right? He had good hands and good eyes and hands, his feet movement, those little things, you understand? And that actually made me excited. So you take him, and we selected him, the selectors, kudos to them, they selected him and put him in the under 17 side, right? There were a couple of people, detractors, how do you select a boy that plays in third 11 in his school and put him in the A side? When the boy went to the tournament, the national tournament, he scored 80 on day 1 against Free State. Nobody ever said anything. That boy hasn't turned back. You were playing the Africa Cup. He's probably one of our leading lights, or young black talents that there is, right? So the scouting also doesn't go about just, here we've seen him, and sir and coach here work. There's a lot of other things that people don't know about. The advantages of young players, what has been put in place for them. So the scout, I look after his academics to see where he is academically, compared is the cricket outweighing the academics? Because obviously it should be an even balance of things. Some of these boys just wants to play cricket,
Yeah.
but the academics is just not where it's supposed to be. So, and what people don't see, they read in the papers about CSA and the shenanigans, that the global T20 that was aborted the first time. This one looks like it's not going to get off the ground. And people look at that and they have a perception of Cricket South Africa. What they don't understand or what they don't know is the amount of money and programs that CSA has put in place for these boys, right? And all it is to address the imbalance. That is what it is. It's to address the imbalance of the past. And for me as a scout, when I see boys, I always make sure that I'll bring them to a nearest net where I am, and I'll get another coach in, and we will bounce. You understand? I would say, I've seen this boy, man. This is what I feel about him. This is what I see about him. These are perhaps his strengths and this is his weaknesses. I'll always bounce it off another coach, a senior guy or maybe a good coach that I know, and say, you have a look, and then we compare notes and see where it is. And most of the time, it's difficult perhaps for me to say this to you is because that is not my nature, to put a feather in my own cap. But we've had more successes than failures in the scout system. You understand? Right through the country, I can list you a bunch and a host of names of boys that's coming through now.
Yeah.
And that is purely because of the amount of money, the structures, the energy that CSA has invested. Because a Bonga Makaka would not be given an opportunity. You understand? You go to the Durban area, there are guys like Mondli Komalo, Tamsanka Komalo. There's another good youngster there. He's probably going to be one of the quickest, still a youngster, Leefam Tanzi. There's another youngster on the market now currently he's going to go to the Africa Cup. I'm looking forward to watching him play, to watch him. And that is a 15, 16-year-old youngster, Nayo Valaini. He's a proper youngster. But CSA, through their programs, has given these boys an opportunity. More boys out of our township areas are starting to come. You see, we as scouts and role players in the system, we need to invest our time and energy into those areas, because for too far we have neglected those areas. And yes, I understand there was an imbalance. CSA, in its foresight, is trying to address that imbalance. My job as a coach, as a scout, is this, to assist CSA in addressing that imbalance, right? The same thing when it comes to and this stigma that goes around, that these boys are all quota players and transformation, and that is why they're not good enough. Those are the stigmas that we should put to bed. You understand? The reality is, the fact of the matter is simple. Transformation will be there, and it's supposed to be there, and it's supposed to be used as an imperative. Period. And that is where I stand on transformation, because transformation's total purpose is to embrace, like I said, is to embrace the challenges and the inequalities within our system. I don't want to go back to say where it started, because that's a whole political channel which I'm not interested in going. That is a discussion for another day. You understand? But if it was not for transformation, nobody would have seen a Bonga Makaka. Nobody would have known who Bonga Makaka is. You see? Nobody would have known who Nayo Valaini is, who Kadushe Molefe is. He's an exciting spinner.
Very good.
At JP Boys.
I watched him at the Kaya Majoro week. Very, very accurate. Very.
And he's an articulate young man.
Yeah.
You understand?
Very confident as well.
And that is what it is. You understand? And that is where we are going, and where CSA, Cricket South Africa, is going, by trying to address the imbalance. And it's going to take a bit of time, so. But the the naysayers, there will always be naysayers. But I can tell you now, me working within the system, we are on the right track. You see?
So Graham, there is something that I actually wanted to ask you. If there's two players, for example, as a scout, there's two players, they scoring at a similar rate, both getting 50s for their schools, they're both doing really well. How do you distinguish between which one you're gonna pick?
This is my way of doing things, right? And this is not a policy, not from CSA, not from Western Province of where I live and where I'm based. I haven't seen it on paper, but this is how I would select. And this is purely my way of doing things. No, this is no policy. So don't bear, other people cannot bear the burden for what I'm going to say now. If there's two players of equal opportunity, right? The player that, in my opinion, that must be selected, if there's one spot in a team, right? And there's two players of equal opportunity, the player of color takes preference. That's how I understand it. And that's how I would implement transformation. You understand? If they are of the same ethnic group, we have to go to the better numbers. But it's also not that. You understand? It is, when we select players, at this youth and young age, they have not evolved, they not emotionally, they are not there yet, they don't understand their game, and they need to be guided. So what you do with those players in the system is you put proper structures around them in place, right? And that is why CSA has come with what the PDP and the PPP. A PPP is a player performance plan, and then you have a PDP, which is a player development plan.
Okay.
Right? So you can't send a boy from the township that has probably had a proper meal 2 days ago, and you want him to perform Saturday morning at his optimum. You're not going to get him. You see? So the PDP, to develop that player, what needs to be put in place? He needs a bit better nutrition. His home circumstances is not right. But we are saying, this boy just can't score runs. And then we say, you know what? He's just not good enough. And then we cart him aside, and next in the queue comes. And that is not how it's supposed to work. You see, you have to sit him down, chat to him, take him through your life. You'll be astounded what some of our boys live on.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Obviously, I cannot speak about personal stuff or what's on paperwork that they gave us. But it's unbelievable. I'll make a classical example to you, my boy. Let me tell you, Khalid. I met a young man last year. I've got his paperwork, right? And it really gets to me emotionally when I deal with things like that. Because I come from a township myself, man.
Yeah.
And I know how the hustle is in a township. A colored township is no different to a black township, brother. The hustle is real. People live from hand to mouth, or they don't even live at all. So, you have a young man that lives in a township. His mom works or helps out the mopping and so forth in the cinema. Right? So, they wait for their mom to come. She comes late after the last movie or whatever. I don't know what the movie times are these days. I'm not into this, going to cinemas and movies. Those days are long gone, my brother. But why do they wait for her? Because she brings them extra popcorn home. That is what they eat.
Sure.
That is what they eat. Popcorn. That is why he cannot wait for the weekend to be over. So that he can go back to school, because during the course of the week, he boards at the school. So he gets 3 meals at the school. He hates going home on a Friday. Because that is what he's in. And he's a quality cricketer. You understand? So, what do we do about it? CSA has given us tools to put in place to assist boys like that. And remember, not all boys is going to play for South Africa.
Yeah, of course
Not all boys is going to be professional cricketers. But if the system that CSA has put in place for us and that boy becomes a top academic one day, so be it. So be it. At least that same boy will become an upstanding member of society, and he will then in turn contribute in improving
And
society.
an all-around individual as well, yes.
You understand? And those are the challenges that we set. As a scout, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. Yes, I do get a lot of flack.
Yeah.
Whether it's fair or unfair. Social media is just a killer sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? I've been through a couple of trials and tribulations regarding how do I as a grown-up handle negative comments that is out there.
Yeah.
You understand? Because once somebody posts something, it cannot be retracted.
Yeah.
It's there. It's
forever
in the
there.
public domain, which is so unfair sometimes. You see? But I too also, at CSA, I have good people that will always advise me. Niels Moomberg, Lawrence Matlana, John Bailey, for instance. And even the convener of selectors, a young upstart. I mean, he played for South Africa a couple of games. Victor.
Yeah.
Mpatsang. I mean, we might be friends, or I might be older than Victor.
Yeah.
But yes, so they have wealth of knowledge. They've been in the game, and they will guide me even at my age. They will guide, because I'm always seeking to upskill myself and to empower myself, because I have a vision and a view about it. Because if I can empower myself and upskill myself, where I go to in the township where I work, boys that I meet, I can use that knowledge and upskill them again. And that is the cycle that we go. But it's exciting to be a scout. It's ups and downs, like I said. But you know what it is. If you've taken flack for something, I'm not the guy that will say, will go back to you and say, you know what, I told you so. That I don't believe in things like that. I also don't believe, for me, even this, it's very uncomfortable, because this is now me putting myself out there. You understand? And that's not me. I'm not a guarded person. You see, the system has made me a guarded person. You understand? I'm not scared for controversy if it's the truth, because I live by certain. I have an ethos in my life. I live by a value system. Doesn't matter where I come from. I was raised with a value system. That has always been true. So, and that is what I try to impart. I as a scout, I'm sometimes more than a scout. I have to be the father and the mother when things go pear-shaped. You understand? But like I said, if you back a boy, because what am I also looking at? I'm looking at promise and potential. You see? And if a boy has promise and potential, then I think it's incumbent upon me to provide him an opportunity.
When you talk about promise and potential, it's not only regards to his cricket skills, eh?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What else
No.
do you look at when you look at a
like
boy?
for instance, we had boys, promise and potential at cricket. We find him in the township. He has good grades. I can take you to a boy now that I've had a good look at. He gets the 7, this number.
Yeah.
When I went to school, there was no numbers, but okay. So he's a top academic. How he survives, the Lord alone knows. He lives in the township. They are 48 in a class, which, if you go into that class, it looks proper township in that class. It's just all over the show. How the teacher manages to teach these kids is unbelievable. But this lady, as that academic person, so then he comes from a background where they don't have, because I visited him, you see. So what do? So I solicit the help at CSA. Here at Western Province, we work with Sports Skills for Life Skills, which is an NGO at UWC, run by Nick Koch. So I will go to Nick, because I know him personally, and say, hey, I've got this youngster here. Can you facilitate an opportunity for him on a bursary? And that is how we go around, right? A classical example, everybody knows there was at one stage when this youngster came, when I introduced this youngster to, I think it was 2 Africa Cups ago, or 3 Africa Cups. when he made his debut, Emmanuel Sebarami, right? A boy from Rwanda that came here, played SA, made the SA school side, top off spinner. But Emmanuel Sebarami is probably the top academic at the moment. He did started the course, changed the course in the next year. He will finish next year and at varsity he does finance and so forth. He's got one of the top mentors that is in place for him, and he himself is a top. Whether he's going to play for South Africa one day, which is probably still his dream, because I spoke to him just a couple of days ago. For me, I'm at peace, because I know he's going to be a top academic. He's going to be able to earn a decent living to help his mom, right? Because they are Rwanda nationals. They've been here since 2002. Those are heartwarming moments for me, that I could be part of that journey. And when you punt a boy, or because it takes a lot of convincing as a scout to go to a coach and say, you know what, I've seen this young man. I want you to have a look, and this is what I think. The coach always has some other idea, or he has a different idea. But when it gets, John O'Bird is a classical example. That's the flavor at the moment of the day, John O'Bird. So John O'Bird scored runs, like I said to you, scored runs in Potchefstroom at under 13 level. That's the last that he scored major runs at the youth tournament, right? So John O'Bird has always been there. Last year, he did not have the best of under 17 weeks. As a scout, I'm also part of selecting boys for the Cubs week, right? Which is the three provinces together. Yeah. We formulate our own cups, so we are the Cobra Cups, for instance, right? So I took so much flack about selecting John O'Bird, a 16-year-old boy. But again, that is your gut tells you these things. I've been around the block for quite some time, like I said to you, as feel and touch, and sometimes you have to back it. And you're not going to get it right all the time. But you have to go where your heart is, where your head is and your heart is nowhere in place. You go with what's in your gut, what your feel is. And we had a debate about, a long debate amongst our selection about the cup side, about John O'Bird or stroke another player that had a good week, right? So we've taken John O'Bird. John O'Bird showed glimpses at the Cubs week. A boy that can really play, hit the ball far, and everybody is astounded how far this youngster hits the ball, right? And if the first ball is short, he'll hook you for 6. Whether it's the first ball or the last ball of the game, that's the nature, and he's a good youngster, so well-rounded youngster. He's a humble boy. So we took a punt and we selected John O'Bird. Subsequently, John O'Bird was there now, put in the eye line or put in the shop window, if I might say. So selectors at national level have seen John O'Bird. They decided, and obviously I discuss and chat to them about, they would want to know a bit more, for instance, from me. Like, for instance, Graham, you're from Cape Town, John O'Bird is from Bishops. What else is there about this man, right? So I said, if he's fully fit and he's happy and he's strong, his seam up, left arm seam, and his left arm Chinaman, right? The last guy that I saw do those things is the black and white movie I have at home, and that's a Garfield Sobers.
Wow.
You see, and and people is excited about John O'Bird. So the selector selected him to go to the 3-day, 1-day internationals against England, right? The last one washed out. The first game he scored 53, walked past the right arm spinner, which he's learned from. The next game chasing 250 and a bit, or 260. The next game he scores 142 not out. Yeah. Right? So again I come back.
What stood out for you and him, really?
Listen to me. Again, his feet. Now a coach will sit down and say, technically, Graham, his feet is not moving, he's not getting his weight to the ball and all those things. Right? But this lady has immense hand and eye coordination and hand speed. Right? So the little things we can. So people tend to make these mistakes. Coaches at another level makes this mistake when they see boys, because he coaches at another level, he's comparing that boy to that level, which is unfair towards the boy. You understand? Because, like I said, emotionally, he's not mature yet. He don't understand himself yet. Through the game of cricket, which I believe that cricket is a life lesson. Cricket asks the questions that life will ask him. So as he loses his wicket, he's starting to discover himself. As he bowls bad balls, he's discovering himself. And that's the journey that cricket brings. Jono Bird, I mean, he's probably the stalwart. Bishop's had a couple of good players. Craig Kisvet, I think, played there. The great that came from there was Herschel Gibbs. Ralph Costa played there many years ago. And this is after many years. This is the best that's coming through there now. And you know what is good about this boy? He is a big boy, a proper big boy, but he has broad shoulders. Shoulders, what I mean by that is, he carries his school. He is the guy that scores the runs. If Jono don't score, they struggle. That is just the fact of it.
So it's character.
So, and that is what it is. There's certain things a coach cannot teach. That's my opinion again. A coach can teach you skill. A coach can teach you flair. A coach cannot teach you to have a big heart and to have proper attitude. That a coach cannot teach. That you must come with. That the coach can't teach. For you to have, now Jono Bird has those attributes. Yes, I might be raving about this youngster, but I'm bold enough to say, guided properly and staying healthy and fit, Jono Bird will make it all the way through. And what was good, what made me feel happy, that our cricket services manager, which is Clinton Dupree, with the CEO, they were champions in that regard, in the sense that they had foresight of saying, you know what, let us not as an association be proactive, reactive. Let us be proactive and show a sense of intent. So Jono Bird and his parents was called into a meeting to discuss Jono's pathway here compared to what he had in mind. He wants to be here, and that's his pathway, right? He will play in the Africa Cup. I'm telling you now, it's going to be exciting. He's going to excite a couple of people. But what he also, I chatted to him the other day, what he also needs to realize, everybody knows about Jono Bird. So there's a bit of footage of his innings in England. So people will start to look how best they can. Because if Jono Bird gets away in the power play, you will get out of your power play 70 to 80 runs in a power play if he gets going. You see? And those are the things. And they had the foresight here, like I said, to show intent. Bonga Makaka will be playing in the Africa Cup team as an 18-year-old. You see? Untried. He played one or two games in our semi-pro last year, and so forth. Yes, from a selection point of view, they don't have runs behind them or wickets for selection. But it's the intent that you show at your province to back youngsters, you see? Because that is the way we have to go. We cannot be going outside our province. And now the scouting for me, that is where the scouting comes in. Because I travel to townships. Listen to me, on a good Saturday, I clock easily 200 Ks. Easy. You see? Because I work out a little route for myself. So this week, for instance, I would say to myself, I will just do the southern suburbs. These are a couple of boys that I'm looking at. So where are they? I look at the fixtures. They will be playing there. So what I do is, before I leave out, I let the game start. Right? Unless it's an open I'm wanting to watch, I'll phone the coach or whoever to say who won the toss. Now we're betting. So that guy's going to bet at 9:30. So I'll be there. You see? Or otherwise I follow web cricket to see where they are. Okay, so who's betting who, so who I want to see, and that's how I plan my day. The next week I will just do townships. Whether it's black township, colored township, doesn't care. Where there's youth cricket, you will find me. The next week I will do the northern suburbs here in Cape Town. Then I will go out to Paarl. Once or twice within a 6-month period, I will visit. Like last year, I would go up to SWD. I will stay over for two to 3 days. I have a 2-day camp. I'm there. We were preparing boys because there's also the TAP program, which is a talent acceleration program, which I'm also part of. Once a year, we have a Black African camp for boys under 16 at Fort Hare, right? So we identify, with those coaches, I identify Black African players that we can put in the system, right? So you will have a guy like, for instance, out in George at Tembaletu High School, youngster, small wicketkeeper batsman, Thabo De Wheelie, which is an exciting little youngster. But he looks lekker naughty. If you look at him in his eye. But he's a kid.
But your wicketkeeper needs to be a little naughty.
He's a kid. So you have a guy like that. Here you have Siateba Masheke, left-arm batter. Right, he's still young. So we've already starting to identify youngsters at that age coming through the system. So what I also do, I will draw myself a little pipeline drawing. So this is where he's sitting now in grade 10, which is what? Standard 8, right? So he's there. So his skill, and I've got all of them right through to matric, from standard 6 to matric. So if a coach comes to me and he says, you know what, I'm looking for a leg spinner. So then I can show him, you know what, coach, currently now at under 19 level, under 17 level, there's no leg spinner.
Sure.
But there's a leg spinner sitting in standard 7. So we will not be having a leg spinner in the next 3 years or 4 years. So then it means the coach then has to source a leg spinner perhaps from outside town. But you need to be on top of your game. You need to be. I am driven purely, and I'm not scared to make this statement. I'm not driven by money. I've never driven by money. That's my life. I'm driven to get the boy the opportunities that I didn't get. Right? Those opportunities weren't there in my time. In 1977, there were no opportunities, right? So, but here are so many opportunities and structures and finance that CS has put into this. There's the hub system. That major money has gone into that. To see how best the better players, and those hub systems is out there to catch. It's like a big catchment area. You see, your schools, you have schools that has never played cricket before. And now that they're starting to play, or they are drawn in by the hub guys, the hub coach and the surrounding schools around him where he is, now all of a sudden you have a youngster at Marist College which nobody knows about. Scored a 50 ball 200.
Wow.
I scored a double century of 100 and just less than 100. You understand? So now everybody shuts up. I'm excited, so I want to go see where does this boy play? Whereas somebody else, the naysayer would say, yeah, I scored 200 against which bowlers? You see, that's the naysayer. Now for me, I don't care how much runs he score. I want to go see. I don't care what the bowling is. Remember, the bowling can be moomish. You still have to score the runs, man.
Yeah, you still have to have that mentality to be able to.
So let me see what excites everybody about this boy. So let me go there. So now I can see he plays his front foot nicely, open, brings his hands through, his hips goes through, he's always in a strong position when he plays. Yes, all the shots is not the best shots, there's some weights and some funky stuff. But he has the base that you can work from. So now you take that boy and you put him in the mainstream in the system. See, now you try and guide and help where you can to push him along. You see, understand? And try then for him to develop as for him to play against better opposition. Right? People that will be asking the questions to see
To test his character properly.
who he really is.
Yes.
You understand? But those are all part of scouting, looking for talent here and there. Sometimes I think if CSA can perhaps add extra to the scouting system, extra men or hands in there. Because for me personally, the Western Cape is big money.
Yeah.
You understand? To go to George, you must remember, from Montague, SWD starts at Montague, just overpass Robertson, Aston, and that. You get to Montague, and it ends at Plettenberg Bay. That's how big it is. Look at the Boerland. The Boerland stretches from the coast down here at Friedendal, some Dana and those places, right through to Hermanus. So it's big. You understand, to get to those schools. And sometimes, yes, it's a challenge, and sometimes you just can't get there.
Yeah.
Logistically, sometimes you just can't get to all the places. So, but what you do is, of what I've done is, I have in areas networks of people, right? So, coach, what is happening in your area? I'm following the numbers here. I see here's a boy with A, B, and C. He's scoring the butt there by you. Who is this boy? What is this boy? So I'll make it now. When I go to Hermanus, for
Going for
instance,
purpose.
I'm going there for a purpose.
Yeah.
I know what I mean. And while I'm there, I will meet other people. Subsequently, I will meet people there. And that's how the network grows. So I have people, for instance, there's a boy, Brian Jack. Quality cricketer. He's out, he lives in Beaufort West on a farm.
Wow.
Right? So, but I have his detail. So, because I liked him and he played in our cup side last year and he showed glimpses of being a proper cricketer. Bowl, genuine all-rounder, bowl, and he's strong. Right? So I will converse with him. What is he doing? Then I will make contact with the hub coach in SWD, which I know personally, to say, Gus, when last did you see Brian Jack? What's he up to? Or I will mail him to say what you're up to. He will send me whatever he's busy with and so forth. So Gus will be my eyes there. I go to Boerland, I chat to Henry Williams, for instance. Right? What's happening in Mbekweni? It's a good township that also. There's a couple of good players out there. So, because I can't go all the time everywhere. So that is how it works. And then it's just an extension. Boys within the system, then you look to bring them into your academy space. You see? Because ultimately, the job is to prepare those boys for semi-pro cricket and for franchise cricket. Now, people have this idea of you're preparing boys for South Africa. You can only play for South Africa, you need to go through. The last guy that came from club level that played for South Africa was Paul Adams. That was the last guy. They've never, not that I know of, I stand to be corrected. I've never seen a guy again taken straight from club cricket, straight into the Proteas. Paul Adams was the last one. So, boys, I always speak to them, and I speak a lot to them, and I mentor a lot of boys too, about life and life skills and so forth, how to go about. Your first port of call, when you finish at under 19 level, right? You perhaps played in the Coke side. Or you played in your provincial B side. That doesn't mean that you haven't played in the A side. There's no worth to you. Yeah. Each team can only take 13 players to a tournament. You understand? And unfortunately, you might be the unlucky one that has missed out. But how do I now chat to that boy? Because now I'm not the coach anymore. I'm not the scout anymore. Now I speak to him as a father, as I would speak to my own son. To stay motivated and so forth. Because you never know, an injury might come up, a withdrawal. Are you ready? Or are you still sitting in the corner and moping and being cheesed off about the world? Are you ready? Are you in that space? How do you get to that space? And that is the process that you work with these boys. Because his first port of call out of school should be, I would like to play or go into a space and get into the semi-pro. Do well there, maybe get a Cobra contract or a Boerland contract or a SWD contract, and from there, opportunities come. Academy, SA emerging side, the SAA side. You never know. You see, you look at this young man that has now made his debut, Reza Hendricks.
Yeah.
I mean, that man has been 10 years ago, he's been in the World Cup team. It took him 10 years to get where he is today. But, and that the lesson out of that is that for that 10 years, he's honed his craft, his understanding. That is why easily he could go into the international arena and he doesn't look out of sorts.
Yeah.
And he scores a ton on debut. You understand? Because compare to the youth that's coming through now, they want instant gratification. Instant this. I want to play for South Africa now. And that is why they fall so. We sit here today. In 5 years' time, we're going to speak about what happened to that boy. Where is that boy? They nowhere to be found. Exceptional talent, but they're not patient enough. You understand? They're not patient enough. They want to be the next best thing. But that is also the environment that they grow up.
Yeah.
At his school, he's the prima donna. He's the guy that scores the most runs. He takes the most wicket. He's the head boy with all the tags and everything. He's the man. When it comes to January after matric year, the real world waits for him. Those things means sweet talk when it comes to the new world, to the real world. Because here, you as a young man are now competing with seasoned people for the same spot.
Yeah.
You understand? And those are the challenges that our young people have out there. Me as a scout, that is where I try our best I can help them, our best I can solicit help outside for them, whether it's domestic or whatever the case may be. There is help. Like I said to you again, and I will always say it, people look at CSA through jaundiced eyes for the shenanigans that's going on there, or what they perceive to be going on there. I cannot tell you what's going on there. I'm not there. But what I can tell you is the amount of time, effort, money they put in grassroots cricket. First of all, to address the imbalances and to give each and every boy a fair opportunity to live out his dream. That is basically what it is.
Thank you very much, Graham. That was enough.
Sharp, my brother.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.